How is it going, everybody? It's your boy Chris Garza, and today we're going to be talking about the fall of Barren Roads and what happened to the game itself. I hope you guys enjoy this video. This is by no means any diss towards Vaughn. I think he's an absolutely amazing developer, and he has other titles that he's working on, and therefore Barren Roads has been neglected itself. But I'm going to get into that in this video. Let's get right into it. Now, the first reason Barren Roads has not succeeded as a game is because the player base is too small. For a game centered around PvP action and looting and surviving, there are not a lot of people to fight. You can all day take on raiders as well as the other AI, but sadly, the gameplay gets repetitive and very much boring. So, without the whole survival aspect and players to kill, what's the point? Now, on average, there's about 9 to 10 players on a day and separate servers, so player action is very minimum. And the little player action you get, you usually go against a pocket warrior or someone who pays to win at the game. I know for a fact that every single item I have in-game, I paid for. The reason being was because I was trying to bring content to you guys, but sadly, eventually I ran out of stuff to buy and the gameplay kind of got dull. That being said, the pay-to-win aspect leaves a big gap between normal players and players with money who are able to build themselves up based on the fact that they have in-game credits, therefore dividing the game and taking away from the whole survival aspect built in. The gameplay itself is pretty decent. I did enjoy it, but there have been some hiccups, such as when I'm actually in a firefight, I have to strafe and hopefully my line of fire lines up with the enemy and takes him out. But without that, you aren't able to look around when shooting, and thus making the game hard to kill anybody, as well as just taken away from the whole gun system itself. The whole map system is pretty much complicated. I mean, from the beginning, Barren Roads had 5 separate maps that were 5 different servers. I actually enjoyed the unknown and thought that was really cool. Then, Vaughn cut those because they were hard to run and focused on the single Wicked Forest 2/Wicked Forest type maps where you only have one map, a home world, and different servers of people who run their games at the same time that you can join. I personally think that's a dumb idea. I mean, I see why he did it. It was more familiar, and it worked previously, but that just divides the situation as well as the community because you can't have one server where everyone can play on. You have to pick and choose, and if you pick and choose wrongly, you can play with someone with a hacker, or it's just too much to pick from. Now, I have no idea on how to develop a game, but I know that the player base for Barren Roads is so small, you could have made one big map and one big server and have everyone play on it and actually have fun gameplay, instead of this whole complicated system where the maps are diverse and split up and based off the player themselves. Another point, we have not received any information from Vaughn about Barren Roads, whether it's still being developed or if there's any new content coming out. I know for a fact that Barren Roads is not being developed. I know he's working on the Wicked Forest 2 and a secret title that I'm not allowed to talk about, but the player base in whole does not know that, and therefore we're all just waiting for an update that's never going to come. And it's kind of unfair. So without a lack of new content towards the game, there's nothing to play or look forward to, such as how I was really excited to fly a helicopter around. In fact, I was planning on making a big-ass video about it, but it never came. The final point I have is the game had a completely different direction than what we were led on to believe. On Twitter, there was plenty of videos of Barren Roads from 2015 to 2016 showing a big map, big PvP, different weapons, different animation, and it looked absolutely badass. I honestly thought it was going to beat Vast out. But this Barren Roads is completely different than what we were promised. Now, it's not the developer's fault. It's not Vaughn's fault. He can completely switch directions. And in fact, porting from computer to mobile can be very complicated. I mean, the hardware for mobile is just not as strong. So I completely understand where he was going from there. Overall, guys, Barren Roads was a great game, and it had so much potential to make it an even better game. Sadly, the project was abandoned, and it felt like the community was just kept in the dark. This is not Vaughn's fault. The reason being is because he's actually making a better game, and he's improving the Wicked Forest 2, and he has a secret project in the works that I'm not allowed to talk about, so that's it. I owe a lot of my success on this channel to Vaughn. I am not knocking him by any chance. I'm just simply stating that this game has outlived its purpose, and I feel as Vaughn used this more or less as an experiment to improve his future titles. This is Chris Garza. The ice machine just fell, and I almost fucking died. Peace.